Hello and welcome to Spirit of Life. I'm Mirella Rich, and today our guests are Jess and Daniel Hammond, who you may remember from 15 years ago or 16 years ago on Spirit of Life. We're catching up with them again to see what they're up to. Welcome to the program, Jess and Daniel.
Oh, thanks. Mirella.
Great
so good to be here.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad we found you. So could you just update us on what's been happening in the last 16 years?
Yes, yeah. Well, we've had 2 children and still doing very similar things, so working with churches.
Yeah.
We're home-based at our church in Blackburn and also doing lots of itinerant ministry with other churches. So
beautiful.
Working with regional churches and some interstate churches and and at the same time recording and releasing our own music as we can fit into that schedule as well.
And when you're working with the churches, are you what sort of work is that involving?
Yeah, we go to several churches. Like some churches might need a break for their worship team, so we'd come and run their worship service.
Oh, so you run the whole thing, not just the singing?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes Jess will preach, give a word or something as well. But usually it's more, we prefer probably just to do the music and sing. And
so you're a minister as well?
Yes, yeah. So I'm accredited with the Church of Christ. So but we like to work with churches just to see what they need, you know, the teams, if they need training or if they need mentoring or coaching, that sort of thing as well. But often, especially coming out of COVID, I think a lot of churches just want to give their musicians a break. So we come in and just lead the music.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, well, look, I'll start. And welcome back. And it's so good that we managed to find you again.
Yeah, amazing.
Where are they now? Show type of thing. And you've got 2 children, 2 lovely children, I'm sure.
Yes,
Beautiful.
Yep.
Well, I'll start with reading a passage from the Gospel, Mark 11:22-24, and just get your take on it. And Jesus answered them, "Have faith in God. I say to you, whoever says to this mountain, 'Be taken up and thrown into the sea,' and does not doubt in his heart, but believe that what he says will come to pass, it will be done for him. Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." So I really love that passage. It's one of my favourite ones. I just want to see what your thoughts are on it.
It's probably this idea of God moving miraculously and, you know, doing the impossible. I think the last 3 years or 3 or 4 years, you know, around the COVID sort of period, it's really challenged, well, me anyway, personally, to dig into this reality that God actually can do miraculous things. And I think sometimes in our faith, especially in the West, we have much provided for us. We can earn a decent living. We don't need a lot, and so we don't really need to see God do impossible things. But the last couple of years, I think people have been challenged in so many different ways, and for us and for me especially, there's been times where I've just needed to cry out to God and say, I really need you to. I need a breakthrough. I need you to move in certain situations, and to see Him move in those ways has been a real boost in my faith, and it's sort of helped build spiritual muscle, I think. The muscles that I wouldn't have built unless I was faced with challenges. And so I think when we have these mountains in our way, it's the mountain might not be a physical mountain, but we all face certain hurdles. But to be able to go, yes, I believe that you can do this, God. It activates something in our hearts. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think a key is hearing His voice, because faith does come from hearing Him and His direction. So believing and being aligned with Him and what He wants for you as well, I think is a key with that, activating that faith and believing and moving towards that.
And how do you think we can have faith between God and people? Like, how can we build unity, do you think, as a world, so that we eventually all become one? And there's just love, that we're running on heaven on earth, basically, as it says in the Our Father, on earth as it is in heaven, that we get to that stage where we're one with God and one with each other. What are your thoughts on that?
I think a lot comes down to, as you were saying, this alignment piece with God, because if we align our hearts with His heart, He fills us with His Spirit, which enables us to love each other. I know in our humanness, it's hard to love other people sometimes, and there's the current state of the world is there's so much animosity, and there's so much there's a real polarization of thoughts and beliefs and all sorts of things. So we really need God to give us the ability to love and forgive and to love the way He does. I do believe that it's something that we need to be open to His empowerment in that
to
He
work through us.
Yeah.
And what are your thoughts, Daniel?
Yeah, I think that's the keys to the prayer, the Lord's prayers. Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So that's aligning ourselves again with His will and His word and what He has for us. Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, well, I'll go on to the next passage. And this is Luke 1:37. For nothing will be impossible with God. So sometimes we may think, oh, no, this isn't possible. But if we reach deeper within ourselves, maybe we'll find out, that is actually possible. But sometimes we don't go within because we're all looking outside of ourselves. Like you said before, like it started to, during this last few years, it started to get you to go within more. And I think that's something actually for everybody. Yep. Everybody needs to go within more because that's where God is. He's in us all. And that's where we need to go, and that's where we probably weren't, because we're always looking outside ourselves for the answers.
And our world is very much focused on material things, and our goals are very much about material wealth and making sure we're comfortable and all that sort of thing. But to go deeper and to look with spiritual eyes, to engage with the spiritual reality of what's going on, I think it takes discipline, and it takes an intentionality to just sort of stop and really go with what God is saying.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. We've got to go to a break now.
Okay.
You're watching Spirit of Life. Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly. Hello and welcome back to Spirit of Life. I'm Mirella Rich. If you've just joined us, we're here with Jess and Daniel Hammond, who are from the Church of Christ Church, and we're discussing a little bit of gospel readings. Welcome back to the program.
Thanks
for having us.
Thank you. So we were reading before Luke 1:27. For nothing will be impossible with God. Can you recall any experience where you've just thought nothing is impossible with God?
Yeah, I'd say over my life, a theme that I think God stretched me in is the area of provision and knowing Him as like Jehovah Jireh is the word that comes to mind. He's one of His names is He's our provider. And there's many situations that we felt like we've had to trust Him and I can recall especially over COVID with that situation where Jess had to decided to step down from her work. And we just finished a renovation, and then COVID hit. But we could see that God was in that, providing for us, where we were pretty much set up to, at that time, do online worship for other churches. So that was a way that God provided for us that we didn't really see how. But
when you see that, there's a song even there, when you I can't remember the words of it, it's a Christian song, but when you think there's no way, there's a way. It's a really beautiful
song. God will make a way where there seems to be no way.
That's it, that's a really beautiful song.
Another key verse I think for me is seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness. And all these things will be added to you. So just like to make that your focus. And then you just watch all the blossoms come along the way in the path, the golden path. It's so true. It's so beautiful. It's so important. But we have to do some work ourselves to make that. Like people probably might give up because they haven't done anything. But if you just try and do it, what does it say? God, you give God an inch and He give. What is the word?
You don't have to give like a mustard seed. Have
Yes,
the
a
faith of
grain
the
of-
size of a
Yep.
mustard seed,
Yep.
and He'll, make amazing things happen.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's all we have to do is our little mustard
Yep.
seed faith.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if we all do our little mustard seed, imagine how wonderful the world will be.
Yeah.
It'll
Yep.
be heaven on earth for sure.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so the next one is Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him and He will make straight your paths. So it's not just up to us. We need to have this connection. We need to have this faith.
Yep.
So who would like to go first?
Yeah, well, I think it relates to the verse you were talking about, Daniel, about seeking first the kingdom, because, yeah, if we trust God and we just decide that our days are in His hands and that we choose to trust Him, it gives us a level of security, I think, that, I mean, the world is changing. Again, the last couple of years have shown us things can change overnight, and the things where we thought we had our security in can be, stripped away in an instant. And so if we choose to trust Him, regardless of where life takes us, we trust that He will, if we align ourselves with Him, we'll be on the right path.
So true. To never, maybe even the standard of everyone's hearts was a bit lower. They weren't ready for that.
Yeah.
So maybe we all just need to elevate ourselves and have a lot more trust. Yep. But really genuine trust.
Yeah.
So that we don't ever go down there again.
Yeah.
And I think it's we as humans we can be prideful in our hearts because we want to do everything ourselves, and trust requires a level of surrendering and saying, I'm not actually in charge of things, so I'm going to trust you, God, with it. Yeah. And sorry, I cut you off.
Oh, no. And also, when we look with our natural eyes, situations can look quite bad, like what's happening in the world right now. But our perspective can change once we look at God and trust in Him and try and look through those eyes, that lens, instead of what we see naturally in front of us. Yeah.
So true. You just it's like a magnet. Like a magnet draws everything to it. And if we have this faith with God, He'll draw everything we need to it. We can't see Him and we can't see how it's going to happen, but it still happens the same as a magnet.
Yep.
And then you're flying. Flying high on the ground,
Yep.
That's when we're in a better place, I think. So the next message, gospel reading was James 2:19. You believe that God is one, you do well. I think it must mean if you believe that God is one, you do well. Even the demons believe and shudder. So, we just need to believe that God has our best interest in each person's heart, that He loves each person immeasurably the way they are. And each person needs to realise that, don't they? They just need to know that they really are loved.
Yeah, and that the power of the universe is in our God's hands, and then nothing is impossible for Him. That really we can trust Him. We can trust that He has our best interests at heart. That He is a loving God, and I think that's probably what hinders many people from trusting God is this fear of, maybe you don't have my best at heart. Maybe I know what's best for me, but really to trust that He's the one that made us and He made the universe, that He does have our best at heart and He is loving.
And we have to all go back to that, because somehow the world got steered off the tracks.
Yeah.
It's like on a train, we all went off the tracks and nobody started. People must have not had their faith strong enough to believe that He actually does love everyone. It doesn't matter who anyone is. He loves everyone because He created them all.
Yeah.
And all He wants is for them to say, I'm here with you. I trust you.
Yeah.
If we did that.
Yeah.
Imagine how wonderful it'd be. The train would be back on the track and we'd be cooking with gas.
Yep.
Well, raw vegan I want to be. All right. So the next one I was going to ask is this is Ephesians 2:8-9. For by grace you have been saved through faith. And this is not your own doing. It is the gift of God, not a result of works, so that no one may boast. Would you like to say any thoughts you may have on that?
Yeah, well, even the best of us fall short. Like there is no one except for Jesus who actually walked this planet who was perfect. So, we all fall short. So we need His grace, really. And Jesus made that way for us, really. 'Cause he paid the debt, the sacrifice for us. Yeah.
And lived the example too.
And lived the example, yeah.
All right, we'll have to go to break now.
Yeah.
You're watching Spirit of Life. Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly. Hello and welcome back to Spirit of Life. I'm Mirella Rich and we're here with Jess and Daniel Hammond, who are from the Church of Christ, and we're chatting. Here we go. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Now, you've both, did you write the song yourself? Because we're going to end the show with one of your beautiful songs called Strong Hands. Could you tell us a little bit about how that song came about?
Yeah, we had this phrase, strong hands,
Healing.
healing in his strong hands, probably about 10 years before we wrote this song, and that idea kind of grew over time, I guess, and we just kept adding to it, and we eventually put it into a song. Yeah.
Well, we shelved it. We shelved it for years,
yeah.
and then really coming out of COVID, we got COVID in January 2021, I think, and well, for me especially, it was quite a long health battle. It was sort of the long COVID or whatever you want to call it. So really, we got challenged around this idea of healing and God being our healer. And again, for the first time for me, I was challenged to say, yes, I believe, God, you are my healer. And so we thought it's the time for this song to come out. So we developed the song with a friend in the US called Brian.
Wow.
And then we thought this is the time for the song.
Yeah.
So
How beautiful.
yeah.
And it started off with healing with God's strong hands.
Yeah.
And so this was already something you'd thought about 10 years before or something, is that right?
Yeah,
Or for a
it was
while
just
before?
a phrase that dropped into our hearts. And
And then you just developed it into a song.
Yeah.
Who wrote the song?
it was a mix, Daniel and I and a friend, Brian Bolivar, who's from Florida, who we met online. So
Oh, wow.
yeah.
That's beautiful. And
Yeah.
where do you perform it often when you sing it?
Yeah.
A couple of times at different churches.
Different churches. Some churches use it in their congregational singing as well. So
And how's it received?
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it goes down well. People pick it up really easily and sing along.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, I heard it and it sounds absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, great.
So we won't leave our guests waiting any longer. But also, will you come back next week and do the show again?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. So now we're going to leave you with Strong Hands by Jess and Daniel Hammond, and I hope you enjoy the program with Jess and Daniel Hammond and Mirella Rich. See you again. God bless you. Take care. Bye for now.
I hear hope awakening from the sound of your people. I hear joy rising up from the sound of the silence. I hear chains being broken, freedom being found in these strong hands. I hear hope awakening from the sound of your people. I hear joy rising up from the sound of the silence. I hear chains being broken, freedom being found in these strong hands. And there is healing in these strong hands, and there is power and strength to rise again. There's redemption, breakthrough, life that never ends. There is healing in these strong hands. is healing in these strong hands. There is power and strength to rise again. There's redemption, breakthrough, life that never ends. There is healing in these strong hands. And we sing in the waiting. We will praise no matter what. We believe you are faithful and you're holding on to us. And we sing in the waiting. We will praise no matter what. We believe you are faithful and you're holding on to us. And there is healing in these strong hands. There is power and strength to rise again.